The latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Welcome to the Gist on Strat News Global. I'm Surya Gangadharan. Good evening, and we are back again with one of your favorite topics, Pakistan. As you're aware, most of you who are following the news would have seen the scenes from Lahore where police have gone to arrest Imran Khan, the ousted former prime minister, and he got away again this time. He's even now got a court order to the effect that he can't be touched. So for the time being, he's safe. So let's get a sense of where we are going with Mr. Imran Khan and what follows. There's been a lot of speculation about Pakistan's disintegration and all that, but we'll come to that in a little while. I have with me Mr. Ramanathan Kumar, formerly a Special Secretary with the R&AW, Research and Analysis Wing. Sir, welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Surya. Good to be with Strat News Global.
So what do you make of, I presume this second attempt at an arrest will not be the last. And I would presume that the authorities would prefer that he be locked away, at least until the elections are over.
Yeah, well, this is a game that has been going on for some time now, for some months now, as you are aware. And thus far, I mean, Imran Khan has had a charmed life, and it's almost like the proverbial cat with 9 lives. He's possibly exhausted too. But as you said, there was a court ruling that till 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, at least, he can't be touched. But then this is a cat and mouse game, and it's not going to end soon. The stakes are very high for both sides, as you know. And therefore, it is almost one could say, this will be a sort of fight to the finish. The government, unfortunately finds itself in a place where its popularity has really slumped or has never risen, really, so to speak, from the time it took office in April 2022 after dislodging Imran Khan's government in a vote of no confidence. And at that point of time, Imran Khan's popularity and that of his party and his government was at an all-time low. But paradoxically, since then, I mean, he's come out firing on all cylinders, making all kinds of allegations against the powers that be, including the army. And that has, strangely enough, resulted in his popularity almost skyrocketing. So if an election were to be sort of held tomorrow, by most accounts, I mean, Imran Khan's party would sort of win the elections hands down. And that is, of course, something that is completely intolerable as far as this government is concerned, the PMLN and its alliance partners, and also the army, at which Imran Khan has been cocking a snook all this while. The relationship has been between the erstwhile patron and protege has become extremely toxic. So I don't think either the army or the government can really allow Imran Khan to get away and win the next election. So I think they are also desperate to sort of somehow sort of put him into a cage, so to speak, the judicial cage, if one may use that kind of metaphor. So I think the entire effort on the part of the government, and with a silent nod and a wink, if one may say, from the army, has been to somehow sort of make sure that Imran Khan is disqualified from contesting the next election. Now, the Election Commission of Pakistan has already disqualified him in October last year in the Tosha Khana case, where Imran Khan had got valuable gifts from foreign countries, and he had not declared them as part of his assets as per the procedure. But then that has been challenged in the court, and the Tosha Khana case is still very much on. So I think there'll be an effort to convict him in that Tosha Khana case, in which case he gets automatically disqualified for 5 years under the Pakistani constitution. And of course, to basically the effort will be appears to be to make sure that Imran Khan is disqualified under the provisions of Article 62 and 63 of the Pakistani constitution, so that he's put out of the way, as you said, Surya.
Now, assuming that does happen and he is disqualified and all that, will his party implode? Given that it's kind of a khichdi party, put together with all kinds of characters.
That is well put, and yes, I think most people would agree with that analysis. It is a fact that in many ways Imran Khan's party is dependent on one man's charisma and his following, and he has surrounded himself with a motley collection of characters who really, most of them don't see eye to eye with each other. You have people like the former foreign minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, the human rights activist Shireen Mazari, Asad Umar, who's basically got a background in corporate matters. There are other sort of financiers like Jahangir Tareen, etc., etc. But one thing that they have in common is that they're all supporters or admirers of Imran Khan. And many of them have links with the army as well, which is understandable, knowing the background of sort of the emergence of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. But the other thing that they have in common is that they are all almost always sort of at each other's throats. Then, of course, the Imran Khan's party does not have really a cementing ideology either. Imran Khan has espoused this philosophy of ushering in a Riyasat-e-Medina in Pakistan and so on and so forth, but that's not really a coherent ideology. So there is no ideology. There are disparate sort of leaders who don't see eye to eye with each other. So Imran Khan really is the cementing glue who holds the PTI together. And absent him, it's quite possible that the PTI will fragment, and there might be small factions or rumps coming out of it, which has happened in the past with Pakistan, with other parties as well, including the PMLN. I mean, you had the PMLQ, which came out during Musharraf's time, a rump party when he wanted a political front. But to answer your question, yes, I would agree with that assessment that minus Imran Khan, the PTI stands very little chance of standing together as a united party.
So does that better the stakes for Nawaz Sharif's party, or for that matter, the PPP? Do you expect the army to step in and perhaps, work the elections a bit and ensure he wins?
Well, this is the importance of ensuring that Imran Khan is not there to contest the elections at all. Now, what happens if he is not there and there is a enfeebled PTI or a rump of a PTI, headed by some figurehead, who is the front man, so to speak, and a disqualified Imran Khan is there somewhere in the background. Well, it would definitely, I think, make the PMLN's work that much easier. In fact, it would make it much easier, I would say, and with the sort of the silent support of the powers that be in the background, and all the indications are that he very much enjoys the support of the powers that be in the background. You might have seen the interview that Shahbaz Sharif had with Hamid Mir of Geo TV last night, where he sort of quite openly said that way back in 2016 or thereabouts, which would have been when, during the early part of General Bajwa's tenure, there was a meeting where, and I think this was the meeting where they were looking for the next DGI after the retirement of Naveed Mukhtar, Lieutenant General Mukhtar, in 2000, towards the end of 2015. The point is that in this interview, Shahbaz Sharif says that at that meeting, the offer was made to him for taking up the prime ministership of Pakistan. So this was when the effort was on to disqualify Nawaz Sharif. I think by then the Pakistan army had already become disillusioned with Nawaz Sharif, and Shahbaz Sharif says that he very categorically told the General Bajwa and the military leadership that he would not betray his brother under any circumstances. So Shahbaz Sharif quite clearly, and that's how possibly then the ball went to Imran Khan as the next best option after Shahbaz Sharif. So quite clearly, I mean, Shahbaz Sharif has always been sort of, in a sense, the preferred sort of interlocutor of the Pakistan army. The difficulty is that the
when you look at it, the army is coming back to the same set of politicians they had fallen out with earlier. Nawaz Sharif, for instance, his party, they're running out of faces, isn't it?
Indeed, I think they are running out of options, and these are the difficulties. I mean, it's one thing to be upfront and sort of, impose martial law and run the show directly, which of course again is a difficult, if not impossible. It's certainly not an easy thing in this day and age. But then you have the other option of being in the background and pulling the strings from behind and having a puppet in front. And that is exactly what the army is finding, that job is becoming more and more difficult. The options are very limited, and you pick up one person and then he becomes too big for his boots, and then you look for somebody else. And that is not easy at all. I mean, there will come a time when you run out of such options, and then you are caught in a catch-22 situation. And that, frankly, is more or less the long and short of what the Pakistan army seems to be going through at this point of time.
So let's come to General Asim Munir, the new army chief. He's been awfully quiet, not saying very much. What would you think his priorities at this point are? Taking on the TTP or settling this political, mess he's inherited?
Yeah, I think I would say that, I would not like to be in General Asim Munir's shoes at this point of time. He really has an awful lot of things on his plate. I think You mentioned 2 points: the difficulties that Pakistan is facing on its western borders vis-a-vis the TTP. That is a very serious challenge. In fact, the picture that you showed, I think, was one taken yesterday, where General Munir was in South Waziristan yesterday, and he did make a reference there to the seriousness of the TTP threat. So that is one of the major priorities for them. Then, of course, you mentioned the political imbroglio. Yes, that is the second point. And lastly, Surya, I mean, the one doesn't know really what the state of play really is in the army itself. I mean, the impression that one gets is that Pakistan has, I mean, Imran Khan has taken such an effective wrecking ball to the army that he has opened up fissures and cracks there, which would have been hard to imagine some time ago. So persistent have been the Yorkers that the Kaptan has bowled at the army, and I suspect that many of them are really toe-crunching Yorkers. Now, there is talk of some kind of a horizontal sort of cleavage in the army, and I think about that, at a certain level below the middle levels, there is a lot of sympathy for Imran Khan. There is talk about, the sympathy for Imran Khan and his party among the retired personnel and their families. There is also, of course, the vertical cleavages, even at the higher levels, with, the other sort of, if I may use the expression, the loose cannon in all this has been General Faiz Hamid, the former DGISI. He appears to command a certain following, a certain clout in the army. In fact, he has been, the reading is that he has been responsible for many of the unprecedented, leaks that have come out against the government, audio leaks and stuff like that. Now, it's mind-boggling that a retired officer can still do this kind of thing. In our system, there's absolutely no way. Once you sort of leave, that's the end of the matter. You can, you have no chance. But in Pakistan is a peculiar place, and as a retired DGI, the man still seems to be conducting operations almost as if he was an incumbent DGI, and which is almost bizarre. So I think General Munir would have his hands full, I think, in asserting his control over the army. Sometimes one almost gets the impression that the army is a fractured place for reasons that I just explained. So that the political situation, the TTP, all that would definitely. I mean, it's for a man who's just settling in. It's no easy job. The other thing, of course, is the personality of General Munir himself. He is known to be a reclusive and a reserved kind of figure. He's not a man who sort of jumps the gun or shoots from the hip like Musharraf, for instance. He is known to have a very, very religious bent of mind. In fact, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif referred to that very pointedly in this interview with Hamid Mir, that he is a Hafiz, a Quran, and etc. etc. So it does have a certain ideological bent of mind, a reserved, an austere, and a tough kind of general. So for all that, I am not surprised that he's sort of kept his head down, and he's been careful to begin with. And I
So,
think
so let me
that is
stop you
the
there, sir.
man's.
Let me stop you
Please.
there. You mentioned he's austere, religious, reclusive. How does that shape up when you're looking at India? Now, institutionally, the army is against India. We all know that. Does that make this guy, given who he is, what he is, does it make him even more implacably opposed to us?
Well, Surya, the point has been made that if a person is sort of religiously conservative, you can call it religious piety or whatever it is, that this does not necessarily make such a person radicalized. I'm using a
Yeah.
terminology from the world of extremism and terrorism. That is fine, but I think I have said this in the past as well. I think I mean, after all, a chief's bent of mind also does certainly count on the approach and the entire attitude of the institution.
Yeah.
Uh, my own reading is that with that kind of background, I mean, it's quite obvious that he quite heart and soul subscribes to the philosophy of jihad fi sabilillah, which is the official motto of the Pakistan Army. And I'm sure he believes that the Pakistan Army is there to defend the ideological frontiers of the country as well. Uh, Now, all that has a bearing, and as I've said elsewhere also, I think it does, in a sense, make certain organizations feel a little more comfortable. And
Hmm.
this has been my reading as well. I mean, the ceasefire along the LOC, which is has held, which is good. But other organizations like the Lashkar, etc., the Jaish, the impression that I get from the ground is that slowly they are revving up their activities.
Hmm.
The Lashkar or the Jamaatul Dawa, of course, no longer operates under that banner in Pakistan. There are many other banners like for instance, the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, there is the Allahu Akbar Tehreek, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. Organizations like these, my understanding is that in the past few months, particularly after Pakistan got off the FATF grey list, they have become the old faces, the old leaders who had gone into hibernation are slowly coming out and under the garb of flood relief, for instance. Pakistan was very badly affected by floods, as we all know, this summer. These organizations are now back to fund collection, religious indoctrination, and so on and so forth. And all this happens when you feel that you have a certain, a comfortable environment to work in.
To work.
That is really what, as a former intelligence officer or whatever, that is what worries me. So we have to wait and see. Certainly, we have to be on our guard.
So let me come to my last question. All this talk about the economic situation Pakistan is in, bankruptcy, political turmoil, social dysfunction, etc., etc. Is Pakistan, in your sense, on the road to fragmentation, disintegration, breakup, call it what you will?
Well, I think they're still a long way from there, Surya. I mean, all said and done. I mean, there is, yes, a certain amount of political turmoil at this point of time,
Yeah.
and Pakistan is certainly not new to political turmoil. It's an endemic feature of politics there.
Yeah.
Yes, the economic situation is dire, but Pakistan has faced bad economic times in the past as well. Uh, and but I mean, it's not as if that there's going to be there's a complete meltdown, which is likely to happen tomorrow. Yes,
Yeah.
comparisons have been made with Sri Lanka, and a similar situation could take place in Pakistan as well if they if the deal with the IMF for whatever reason is not signed, and if other lenders don't come to their rescue. Yes, I mean something similar to what happened in Sri Lanka could sort of unfold in Pakistan. That cannot be ruled out at all. But even that, I would say, is not really a meltdown of the state. You have the army there, you have the institutions, and I think you have, I mean, not last but not the least, one doesn't like to talk about it because usually it is the Pakistanis who talk about this more often than not at the drop of a hat,
Yeah.
their nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
But yes, since we are talking of all these doomsday scenarios, etc., and the worst case scenarios, yes, I mean Pakistan's nuclear weapons, etc., also have to be taken into account. And I think
Yeah.
well before we reach any such stage, I think international actors will step in, and
Yeah.
somebody will take charge. I mean, I have very little doubt
And
on
do
that
you,
score.
sir, just to follow up on that question, do you see the Pakistani army ever, doing what the Bangladesh military did? At some point, the Bangladesh army decided that this game is not, politics is not for them. They stepped back. Do you see that happening in Pakistan?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I mean, the Bangladesh parallel. I think it's a very valid point that you raised, and I think people in Pakistan, for their own good, I think should think about it. I mean, look at Bangladesh. I mean, where the army was in power for almost for more than 2 decades
Yeah.
after, for the better part of 2 decades, shall we say, after the frightful assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in 1975. And then slowly in the early 1990s, I mean, the democracy was restored and had an uninterrupted run for a decade and a half. And then again, when the political parties could not see eye to eye with each other in 2005-6 over the constitution of the caretaker government, the army stepped in. General Moin U. Ahmed, who was the army chief,
Yeah.
there was an intervention. But the army was wise, and General Moin U. Ahmed also was wise. I mean, although as he faced a lot of flack within Bangladesh as to why the army stepped in, whether it was at the behest of Western powers, who egged them on, etc. But whatever it is, the army stepped in, cleaned up the mess, and then very wisely handed over power to
Yeah.
the civilians. And since then, they have stayed in the barracks. And look at the net result. I mean, look at where Bangladesh is in terms of its economic
True.
parameters now,
Yeah.
and where Pakistan is. So I think. Uh, the Pakistan army would definitely, although they would not like to do it at all, but I think in their own self interest, they should look closely at what Bangladesh has been able to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think the right place for the military is the barracks. And if Pakistan can somehow get over this obsession of being a security centric state and putting the genuine socio-economic welfare of its people at the heart of the state enterprise, then I think Pakistan and the entire region will benefit from it.
On that note, Ramanathan Kumar, thank you. Pakistan, as always, is a story in the making, and it never sees a story that never seems to have an ending, or even hope for a ending on the horizon. Thank you, Ramanathan Kumar, for that insight. Good perspective, and adds to our sense of where this country is going, although it leaves us no wiser as to what will happen tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Surya. It's a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And for those of you who joined us on this conversation, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and other social media. Thank you and good night.